folks, welcome back. This is going to be a fun one today. We're going to talk about where the market was in the past, where the market is now, and trying to identify where the market will be in the future. And it's all going to revolve around Alex's agenda, right? Because I'm a YouTuber, I'm a public figure, I gotta have an agenda. We all have to have this secret agenda, this secret manipulation scheme that we're doing behind the scenes. And I'm called out a lot for having a very strong bias towards modern, specifically modern sealed. So I guess you could say that's my agenda. Now, if anyone's crazy enough to think a sub 10,000 subscriber YouTuber has any real effect on a market this large that I could actually manipulate a market into rising in value to take advantage of it and then dump all my product on the market in this big pump and dump scheme, then hey, you can believe that. But let's be honest, I don't have any real effect in this market. I'm not PokeRev. I'm very cognizant of where I am in this hobby and where I am on YouTube and the small amount of, if any, influence that I have. Now, with that being said, Rudy from Alpha Investments, if you don't know who that is, he's got about a 368,000 subscriber YouTube channel. He's been around for, almost 10 years now on YouTube. He invests in Magic, he invests in Pokemon, he invests in pretty much all TCGs, tons of collectibles, Legos, artwork. He's a beast, right? He's a whale. And the last few videos, over the last few months, he's had this recurring theme that he's been talking about. And he's been talking about the same things that I've been talking about for years now that he is seeing in Magic. So it's not a Pokemon-centric thing. It's not a nostalgia Nomics thing. But he's been talking about how he's pretty much stopped buying, for the most part, a lot of vintage and reserved list Magic cards, which he had always done in the past. And he's been talking about how he's seen a very strong uptick and very strong amount of demand returning to newer Magic. And he's also said that a lot of his money now is going towards newer Magic boxes and newer Pokemon boxes. That's where he's allocating his funds. And he's also talked about how he sees this trend continuing into the foreseeable future. He doesn't see any movement. He sees it being very, very flat on vintage Magic products and cards. And he goes into his reasonings. You can go to his channel, you can find those videos and watch them. But it's a lot of the same reasonings that I've been talking about as well. And you can talk about, oh, it's because, you and him, you want to work this agenda. Guys, there's no agenda, right? The agenda is, I've been in this hobby for 9 years. I've been involved in investing in the stock market and other markets for, 15 plus years now. And I understand market movements, I understand how markets work. I understand collectible markets. I understand the Pokemon market. And taking all of that knowledge and putting it into videos and supporting it with historical data and facts and figures, that's what this YouTube channel is all about, right? It's not about trying to convince anyone or, try to change your mind on what you believe or what you like to collect or invest in. It's just to show the opportunity in doing the same things that I'm doing. Because I'm not just preaching something, guys. I pretty much do every single thing that I talk about in my videos. Now, maybe I don't buy every single card I talk about, and I don't get as large a position as other people out there, and whatever it may be, but I do pretty much every single thing that I talk about in my videos because I truly believe in it. And I don't just believe in it, I've had success in it over the past 9 years in these hobbies. And so I think the best way to understand this is to go back, right? In about 7 years ago is when SM Pratt started his YouTube channel about Pokemon. He started his channel like 10 years ago, but he started talking about Pokemon about 7 years ago on it. And if you don't know who SM Pratt is, he's one of the first kind of Pokemon investing YouTube channels. He's kind of the creator of the older, rarer, minter, better phrase that I kind of joke about sometimes. He made shirts actually with that on there if you want to know who made that phrase. A lot of his philosophy was built around, again, older, rare, minter, better. The low pop reports, the very limited releases, the trophy cards, the Japanese exclusives, the high-end PSA 10 first edition WotC cards, and, anything that was very rare, very scarce, very niche. That those are the things that he felt were going to perform better because of, hobbies of the past like sports cards or comic books or other things that had seen the oldest items perform the best. And the thing is, he was right. He was right. During the 2020-2021 boom with, the COVID lockdowns, the Logan Paul, the celebrities all entering the hobby, the free money from the government, that's where a lot of that money made it to, is the older, rare, mint, or better cards. It shot them to the highest highs they've ever seen. And the issue is, when that bubble popped, it shot them back down. Not all the way back down. They all settled, higher than their lows they were before. But the issue is they kind of all reached valuations that they went through their major growth cycles already. And another issue is anyone that didn't get in before all that happened, that got in during and all throughout the boom, they lost a lot of money, and a lot of them haven't seen any of those gains recover yet, because a lot of that product has all went stagnant for 4 years, and some of it's starting to rise, some of it's still falling off, some of it's still stagnant, but there's been very little, if any, gains since that happened on a lot of those cards and items. Left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and so a lot of people don't ever want to go back to that, and a lot of people left the hobby because of that. And I was in the hobby through all this, right? That was back when I was a vintage investor, right? I was watching SM Pratt. I was on his site E4, which he didn't actually create. DJ Gigabyte did, but he kind of took it over. Now he's like the owner, administrator of it, whatever. I don't know that whole story, but his site, E4 Forums, it was kind of before Discords were big, and so that's kind of where you went to talk about Pokemon and Pokemon investing and really learn things. That's what he was promoting. And after all that happened, right, that's when I started to kind of see what was happening and see the shift, and I started to speak on it. And I would try to go to other investment channels that had popped up, including his at the time, and I'd leave the comments. I'd try to chat in the live chats, and it would get beat down as being stupid. And again, people hearing this today, they're like, Alex, that's ridiculous. Everyone believes in modern investing. They didn't, though. They didn't. And it was actually very frowned upon. It was seen as like brain dead plays, stupid plays, too easy. Collectibles are a market where people only chase after the rare niche items that no one else can have. They don't want items that are widely available. And that's why modern is not going to do good. It's great for the kids. It's great for new collectors. It'll bring people in the hobby, but it will not age and do well like the true investments of the older, rare, mint, or better stuff. And so anyway, I'd consistently gotten arguments on that forum, got banned from the forum, consistently gotten arguments on other people's YouTube channels about it, got banned from other YouTube channels, had my own YouTube channel, had other people on my channel to debate it. And this was a very real thing 2, 3, 4 years ago, of debating the fact that modern was going to be the future of Pokemon. Now you look around, and even the biggest modern bears are now becoming modern bulls, and everyone's kind of agreeing, and everyone's sees the potential of modern seal, and it's become kind of like a household thing, and everyone just kind of agrees that, oh yeah, it's an obvious play. You buy modern seal, the $80, $90, $100 a booster box, you hold it for a certain amount of years, and it rises in value. That wasn't always the case, though. A lot of people didn't feel that would actually happen. They thought there would be too many sets, it was going to be too mass printed, and these boxes and the cards would not move in value because there's too many of them. Here's the thing they forgot. They forgot to look at the math, right? The numbers, the organic demand. Because one thing about anyone who's into the older, rare, mint, or better stuff is they focus a lot on supply and not on the demand and popularity. So it's all about how low the supply is, how little the print runs were, how low the pop reports are. The thing is, though, you never know the exact numbers, but let's say a card is 100 pop report, but only 1,000 or 2,000 people actually want that card or even can afford that card, right? Whereas with modern, if you have 10 million people that all want a card that only has 10,000 available, like the Moonbryon, the ratio of people that want that are in existence is actually lower than the ratio of people that want some of those old vintage cards or vintage boxes compared to the amount in existence. And that was what I was seeing happening. And the reason I created this channel is because I like the fact that anyone can do this. Now, again, that's can be a negative in terms of anyone looking at it from the vintage side. Is, well, yeah, if anyone can do it, then it's not valuable. But it's not true. It's proven not true. And I like that anyone can go pick up modern boxes when they're released. Anyone can find them in the 80s, 90s, $100 on the open market, right? Anyone can basically afford them. If you have money to put in a hobby like this with discretionary income, it literally costs you like $30 or $35 a month to budget to buy one of every box released a year, because there's only 4 booster box sets released a year. So it costs you like $30, $35 a month to budget to be able to buy one of every box. If you want to buy one of every case, it costs you about, $175, $200 a month to buy one of every case. And so Anyone basically can afford it. Anyone can do it. It's widely available. And it's got the largest amount of popularity and demand. And it was controversial back then because no one really knew what was going to happen. Now, this is happening without any help, right? We don't have the help of 2016 with Pokemon Go and evolutions and generations. We don't have the help of COVID and Logan Paul and celebrities and free money, right? This is happening in 2024. This is arguably the worst time, right? House prices are out of control, right? You're having layoffs. You have people's income not keeping up with inflation. You have wars going on around the world, right? You could argue if any time things were not going to rise in price, it should be right now. But it's the opposite. Modern products, modern cards are still shooting up in price and they're still holding strong when they reach those highs. So if you could think of a better stress test than right now, let me know. But this is a pretty good stress test, right? The market has done good in good times, in bad times, through booms, through busts, through basically nothing going on. And that tells me the same thing that, Rudy's saying in his videos. He sees the foreseeable future, the same trend continuing as I do. And so, guys, this is not to say that I hate on anyone that collects what they like or that collects or invests in vintage boxes or cards or whatever it may be, right? I can like the same things as you, but I can also say in the same sentence, I don't think it's a good investment, right? Because when I look at things like an $80 booster box, or and I look at $15,000 base set booster box or a $15,000 vintage slab, and I say, what's more likely for me to put $15,000 into a bunch of cases of Paldea Evolved or put $15,000 into one base set booster box or one vintage slab, right? What's more likely for those boxes to go from $80, $90 to $160, $180 and double and my $10,000 be worth $20,000 or my $15,000 be worth $30,000? Or is it more likely for that card or that box to double and be worth $30,000? I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, just because there's less people in the world that just can afford to put that kind of money into a box, there's a lot more people that can afford to buy a $160, $180, $200 box in the future. So that's one reason. It's got the popularity, it's got the attention. That's what you see opened all throughout all the streaming and YouTube and Twitch and whatnots and drips and all those. That's what the amount of people are going towards. That's where the new generation of kids is being driven to because that's what's in the games. That's what's in the show. That's what, they're being open. That's what they see at the store. So that's what they like. And so there's so much positive kind of momentum going towards modern, which carries those prices up. And there's just not a lot of interest in the older stuff. Now, it's not to say that stuff's going to zero. It's also not to say that modern stuff is ever going to be worth as much as vintage stuff. It's just to say, at the current price points, to see the maximum percentage gains, I just personally don't see a point of putting it in vintage cards or vintage boxes at their current valuations to see the best possible returns with the least possible risk. Because, hey, even if you do find a vintage card or a vintage box that does perform well in the next year or 2 years, there's a ton of risk because you're buying in at these inflated valuations of $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10,000. There's always a possibility of losing a lot more money than there is of losing money in an $80 or $90 booster box, when in the past 9 years I've been in this hobby, I've never seen a booster box fall to under $70 full market price on the open market on TCG Player or eBay. Meaning you have a very good built-in risk level, and you have a track record of 100% of the time every booster box in history has risen over MSRP after that 3, 4, 5 year mark. Every time. It's 100% proven at this point. And so that's why I have, I guess, this agenda on this channel, right? Or this bias that I have. It's not to start fights. It's not to get in arguments. It's not to make people feel bad if they like vintage or mid-era or anything in this hobby or other hobbies. It's not to talk down anyone's investments, right? I'm happy for you if you do well in other investments. If I'm wrong, I'm happy for you, right? I don't mind. But it's not to do that. It's not to try to, prove modern is superior. It's none of that. The whole agenda of this channel is anyone entering this hobby that wants to invest and wants to make money, I truly believe, and I still do it myself, the best possible chance you have with the limited downside risk and the maximum upside potential is new modern booster boxes in that $80, $90 to $100 range. That's it. There's nothing else going on here. There's nothing behind the scenes. I'm not trying to pump and dump. I'm not trying to manipulate. And I'm not trying to promote my bias into making people dump their older stuff or not collect older stuff or trying to manipulate that market down. I don't care. But the only thing I'm trying to end is things like, if you don't know, I was on Pokey Office's stream, live stream earlier this week. By the way, congrats to you, man. 10,000 subscribers now? Huge accomplishment. I'm so happy for you, dude. Well deserved. But he asked a question at the end, which is kind of what this video came about from. He asked a question, Alex, what if you could open one pack of cards right now, what would it be? And I said, probably EX Team Rocket. And of course, you had people in the comments, the biggest vintage hater in the world said he would open a vintage pack over a modern. Oh man, that tells it all. Guys, I can like something and still think it's not a good investment and not a good place to put my money. That's all it is. And I hope this is the last one of these videos I have to make. But, I get this stuff all the time in my Discord and other Discords. I get this stuff all the time in comment sections on my video and other videos. And, I just get it all the time. It's like, well, Alex, talks negatively about investing in vintage and positively about modern. So obviously he's a vintage hater and all these things. Has nothing to do with that. It's just, I truly believe for the price point, for the accessibility, for the track record, for how well it's been proven over the past 10 years in modern, I truly believe it's the best place for anyone to be investing in this hobby at the current time, at the current market conditions. And that's why this channel is going to stay continuing what I always believe in. And so, hey, love it, hate it, like it or not, agree with me, don't agree with me, no big deal. Let me know in the comments as you always do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, be back here in a new one soon. I'm out.